Hello, everybody. Looks like we are live. Good afternoon. Hello, wherever you are in the world. Fiona Lukey's here for my Friday live. Today is Friday, November 4th, 2022. We are in November. Can you believe that? Amazing. I feel like this year has just flown by. So, a very warm welcome to you wherever you are in the world, wherever you're tuning in from. This is my Q&A session that I run every Friday at around this time, between 12 and 5 past 12 Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. And this is an opportunity for you to come in, ask me any question that you have around anything to do with anything really, relationships, life, that's the area that I specialize in. But for any question that you have, feel free to post it in the comments section below and I will answer it for you. Hello, Julie. You did make it onto a live. Lovely to see you here. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for saying hi. And if there is anyone else out there who's just tuning in now, and I can see a few people joining us, feel free to say hello below. I love to know where people are listening from in the world and, where you are. Say hi and let me know where you are from because I love to hear from people. I do appreciate it. So this is... Oh, hey, Deeza. Me too, honey. Nice to see you. So lovely to see you. Welcome, welcome. I know it's late there Eastern, isn't it? I think it's around 6 p.m. Pacific and 9 p.m. Eastern from memory. If you're in Canada or the US, I know it's Thursday evening for you guys, Friday here for us. So today I've got a couple of things that I want to talk about. And like I said, if you're just tuning in live, feel free to say hi in the comments below. Hey, Catherine, nice to see you. Really, really nice to see you. It's so lovely to hear from you, honey. It really, really is. And I'm very happy to hear that it's sunny in Queensland, okay? Because I know Queensland's had a lot of rain. We've had a lot of rain here in Australia. It's just been crazy. So like flooding and intense rain. We've just come out of Melbourne, where I live, has just come out of the wettest October on record. So a lot of people struggling with all the rain. So hi, Bronwyn. You're Bronwyn from the US. Welcome, and you're on YouTube. Always lovely to see someone from YouTube tuning in. So welcome, Bronwyn. Thank you so much for saying hi. And hello, Rose. You're on the road. Well, I hope you're traveling safe, Rose. Thanks so much for saying hi. Hi, Deb. How are you? Nice to see you, Deb. I know you're from the Relatable program. Awesome. You're in Seymour and it's sunny for you. Fantastic to hear that as well. Oh, you had your first snow on Tuesday. Oh, my goodness, you guys going into winter. We're going obviously in the opposite direction, although you wouldn't know it. Poor old Melbourne is a little slow to come to the spring party, so to speak. Okay, well, thank you so much for saying hi. It's so lovely to see you here on the call. I've got a couple of things I want to talk to you about. There's got a couple of people have sent me in some questions, which I will answer. And if you do have a question, feel free to post it in the chat as we go along. I was actually I was up early this morning, meeting up with a client down at my local beach. So I often I work with clients all over the world via Zoom, but if people can come and meet me in person, I love to go for a walk and have a chat. I think it's just a lovely way to have a session. People are relaxed when they're around nature and when they're walking. And I know when we feel good, when we feel relaxed, we're more capable of taking more in. We're more capable of insight. We've got more. When I say capable, I mean we've got more capacity for insight and fresh thinking, which, if you've been following me for a while now, is the only way we create change. The only way we create change, okay? Long-term sustainable change. It is via the gift of fresh thought and insight that we do that. So I was having a walk with this client this morning, and something came up that I want to bring to the call today because, again, like I said, when I do these lives, I'm talking about things that I've seen show up in my client work or on the calls with my relatable students. Themes that show up, because I know when there's a theme, it generally means that it's something that will be relevant or people will relate to, a large group of people relate to. So I want to talk about that today, but if anyone else has a question or anyone else wants to say hi, feel free to post your question below. I will absolutely answer it for you. What came up for me today is and what occurred to me this morning, and I was talking to this person about um, giving their partner a free pass and what that means to give each other a free pass. Okay. And, a lot of us can be really, and I think this is very problematic in the way that we look at the relationship space, when the way we look at relationships, we can come from this very rigid view that, these are my values, these are my belief systems, this is what I know is true. And we can really, we can become very rigid about that. And when we become rigid, we are in reaction to that all the time. And that becomes like, we become like a broken record, and that becomes our yeah but, or our exception to whatever anyone is saying, or the thing that we get stuck around. And so I was talking to this client about what it means to give your partner, or the people you care about, or the person that you want to change your relationship with. Now, let me just explain what that might look like. Okay, that could be your relationship with you. Like, how often do you give yourself a free pass, right? How often do we do that? Now, this is very important because, and I'm going to talk about what I mean by a free pass in a moment. When we don't give each other a free pass, when we can't let ourselves off the hook, when we're really rigid with ourselves, we will be rigid with everything. Okay? We will be rigid with everything. When we can't let ourselves off the hook, we can't give ourselves a free pass, we are terrible at cleaning up any messes that we might make. We are not great at creating goodwill. We tend to hold everyone to the same high standards that we hold ourselves to. Okay? And when we do that, we create havoc everywhere. We tend to operate from very high expectations, and then we project those expectations on the people around us, and we inevitably feel disappointed. And we think it's because our values aren't being met. We think it's because um, people are not respecting us. We think, like, we got all sorts of stories around why that's the case. But the problem is that if you don't know how to give yourself a free pass, then you'll struggle to give someone else a free pass. So again, if you think about the relationship that you want to change or improve, it could be your relationship with you, it could be your relationship with, obviously, with your partner, it could be with your children, it could be with an in-law, it could be with a work colleague. It's the beautiful thing about what I'm teaching, the direction that I point to, is it doesn't matter what relationship it is, the solution is the same. The solution is the same. This is very, very, very important, which is why so many people find what I teach very simple and easy, because they can take it anywhere and everywhere in their life, their relationship with themselves, their partner, kids, etc. Okay? So I was talking to this client this morning as we're having this beautiful walk along the beach this morning. It's a very still day here, so it's really nice to be walking anywhere near the water. And we were talking about what it looks like to give someone a free pass. Now, people that are very relatable, people that are, so that, in other words, that people feel safe around, people that do relationships well, relationships where there is connection, where there is understanding, where there is good communication, where people are playful, where people are where there is a good feeling, where there is goodwill, they absolutely give each other a free pass. They understand this and they're doing it, and they may not even call it a free pass, right? That's a term, but they will just know that they are forgiving of each other. They look at each other through the lens of seeing the best intention that person is bringing to the table. They assume the best instead of assuming the worst in each other. They're not looking at each other through the lens of suspicion. They're not waiting for the other person to prove themselves. Okay? So when you're giving someone a free pass, what you're saying is, I accept and love you the way you are. And it's okay that you get stuck. It's okay that you lose your way sometimes. It's okay that the worst of you comes out from time to time. I love you anyway. I accept and love you as you are. You've got to be able to give each other a free pass. Okay? People who have really high expectations, people who get really, really rigid, people who come from that place struggle with this, and relationships struggle. Their relationship with themselves struggles, and the relationship with everyone around them struggles. Now, in order to be able to give someone a free pass, you have to have a healthy dose of humility. Okay? You have to have humility for yourself, and you have to have humility for the other person. You also need to have a really great understanding of how we work as human beings, because when you see that, it becomes easier and easier and easier to give someone a free pass. Now, a lot of people will hear me say that and think that that means they're compromising themselves. No, it's not. It's possible for you to give someone a free pass and have nothing on it. And when I say nothing on it, I mean no residue of resentment, no overthinking about every single thing that they've done, and why you're being the better person, and why you're the bigger person, and why you're this. You're not in competition, lining up who's been nicer than the other. You're not bringing any of that to the table. You're just looking at someone through the lens of understanding and compassion, and recognizing that as human beings, we all get stuck. As human beings, we all lose our way. As human beings, okay, where there are times where we definitely can't see the forest for the trees. As human beings, there are times where we can't see that we are overthinking and overcomplicating something. This is true of all of us. And so when you see someone perhaps not handling something the way that you would have, or if you see someone who is not bringing their best self in that moment, your capacity to give them a free pass will be very, very important when it comes to the depth of communication, the level of safety that they feel around you, their ability to soften near you. Okay, because it's very important when you are softening with each other. You tend to look at each other through the lens of appreciation, understanding, kindness, love, all of those things that have relationships absolutely thrive. Now, the problem we face today, and I think this is very, very, very problematic, is people are just focused on horse trading, right? That's the standard of many relationships. Well, I'll be nice to you if you're nice to me. I'll do this for you if you do what I want you to do. If you behave the way I want, I'll give you X. That's horse trading. That's not giving someone a free pass. That's not humility. That's saying you have to show up the way I want. That's actually quite controlling. There's this beautiful synergy, and it flows like a figure eight that happens when you see the shared humanity in yourself and another human being. When you give someone a free pass genuinely because you love them, when you bring humility to the table instead of arrogance, there's this beautiful figure eight. And here's how it flows. Okay. You bring that flavor, you come from that energy, and it softens the other person. It does. It has a softening effect. It truly has. It has a softening effect. The other person, whatever's holding them back, starts to fall away. They lean into that, because connection is who we are. It's built into all of us. It's in every cell in our body. People are looking to connect. The problem is that a lot of people connect from a very low place, which is horse trading. I will connect with you if you behave the way I want. I'll give you love if you do what I say. I will give you love if you text me and meet whatever my expectations are. I'll give you love if you meet my needs. Right? I'll give you love if you have the same values of me. So in other words, I'll give you love if you do life my way. Now, so many of us are giving out that message inadvertently, innocently, but that's the message that we're giving. Now, as I was walking with my client this morning, I was pointing this out to them. This is where you're doing that. This is where you're doing that. And they couldn't see it. They didn't know. It's not like they were doing it intentionally. It wasn't intentional. But I said, here's an opportunity where you could give your partner a free pass. Here's another opportunity here, 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 here. And by the end of the conversation, they're like, I've never seen this before. I did not know that I was even doing that. So now a whole new world has opened up with potential and possibility that they're now going to go and bring home, and I know have a very, very different experience, a very different weekend, because They're now seeing the power and value in giving someone a free pass instead of, but why won't they do this? Why can't they understand me more? Why can't they do this? I think they should. I mean, it was so interesting when we met up this morning. The conversation started with, look, Fiona, I know that you talk about the fact that, we've got to be kinder to each other, blah, blah, blah. But I think my partner needs to understand the way they're showing up. So I suggested that we set up a video and I record them. And I smiled and I said, how did that go? And he goes, well, not very well, to be honest with you. And I was smiling and laughing. I said, well, it's very adversarial. And at one point, they were arguing with me about that and saying, yeah, but if people don't know what they're doing, then how can they change? And I said, what if they don't need to change? What if you're able to give your partner a free pass? And that's how the conversation started. What if it wasn't about the other person changing, but the other person knowing that they're completely safe with you, no matter how they show up? Because I said, your partner doesn't always show up that way, do they? And they said, no. And I said, right. So the moments when they do, how do you show up to that? If we feel like we can't breathe around another person and we've got to be on best behavior and we've got to be perfect and we've got to get it right every time, that is suffocating. It's a really hard place to be in relationship from, and that creates a lot of hardness. It does. It creates hardness because you're on guard. You're on edge. You've got to be careful. That's the whole walking on eggshells thing. Oh, I can't say it wrong. I better not do that. I better not do this. It's like, because the other person's going to rat me out. You don't get the best of each other that way. You get two people walking on tenterhooks. And as I said to my client this morning, I said, that's like walking through a forest that's been in drought for 10 years and there's just dry tinder everywhere and you're carrying a lit match, just waiting for one ember to fall and the whole thing goes boom. Okay? I said, that's the environment that's being created here. I said, you can't possibly get the best out of each other in that space. You can't, because people can't breathe. They're so... Now, when we're like this, we're not coming from our heart. We're not coming from humility and grace. We're in our mind, overthinking, overanalyzing, waiting. Can you imagine? No, see how hard that is when you're in that energy of, I've got to be careful. I've got to be careful. I can't say anything. I've got to... Where you're waiting for the next bomb to fall. See how hard, if you feel it, if you do that within yourself right now, you'll feel a hardness in your chest. You'll feel a hardness in your physique. There's a hardness. Now, what happens is all that happens is you don't get impacted or touched. You don't create anything that impacts or touches the other person, and there's no connection. It just bounces. And then people don't feel one another. There's no point of reference for them to connect to, and people shut down, go back to wherever they go when they don't feel good, and things just get worse and worse and worse. See that? So, there is a lot of beauty and grace in giving each other a free pass. You have to remember, and I want to just talk about intimate relationships for 1 second here, okay? Because so many people will say to me, but Fiona, when I'm with my friends can see that I'm not like this. Or Fiona, when I'm with my work colleagues, I'm not like this. Or when I'm with my siblings, and I'll say, hang on 1 minute. You are not comparing apples with apples here. There is a very different relationship. The solution is the same. Okay, that doesn't change, but it's a very different relationship, your intimate relationship, right? That person has seen you at your worst in a way that nobody else has. Okay, you don't bring your worst to the table with your friends. You don't bring your worst to the table at work. And you don't even bring your worst to the table with your siblings, especially when you're grown up. But we absolutely do that with an intimate partner. We can't help it. You live long enough with someone, they will see your worst. And we've all got a worst. They've seen it multiple times. Now, think about this for 1 second. We all have a bit of a secret fear that if someone sees me at my worst, I'm not really lovable, don't we? Okay? Because we all have a bit of a secret sense of shame about our worst, that is something that it's not okay. I can't be like that. I wish I wasn't like that. We've got a lot of resistance and thinking around it, okay? Now, you've got all these little secret hidden fears about your worst. Now someone else has seen it and now they're judging it. So what does that do? That just makes your very worst fears seem even more real and true to you. I am really unlovable. I have got this horrible, awful side to me that is not enough. And if people could really see that, then no one would really love me. So it sets off all of that. Now, just imagine the gift when your intimate partner looks you in the eye and has nothing on your worst, nothing on it. They understand. There is humility and grace with that. They accept and love you through it because they know that's not who you are. They just know that's where you go sometimes. And they bring that. Now, that is a relationship that will go from strength to strength to strength to strength. Now, a big part of being able to do that is being able to give someone a free pass. And, when you have the understanding about how we work as human beings, our psychological functioning, all of that, giving out free passes is easy. Easy. Truly it is. It doesn't feel like you're compromising yourself or you're sweeping something under the rug or you're in denial. No, no, no. It feels very authentic. It feels very loving. It's very calming. And it is a wonderful, wonderful gift to give to another human being. Because we all have a worse side, right? Everybody has that. Everybody has elements that aren't their best self that come forward. You live long enough with a human being and you'll absolutely see that. It's unavoidable. And it doesn't matter who you're in relationship with. That is an inevitable part of being in a relationship. But how you show up to that, how you meet that is everything. Okay? Now, this is where people really struggle because they get caught up in their own reality, in their own values, in their own what ifs, yeah buts, and I would never do it that way, and all of that kind of jazz. And then they're not present to what's really happening. They're only present to themselves. Now, when you do that, it creates a hardness in you and the other person, and people retreat and step back and they stop communicating because they don't feel safe. If you can't love me at my worst, then how can you really love me? That's what people are left with. Whether it's even a conscious thought or not, that's the feeling. So they'll take evasive action. So yeah, you want to be really good at giving each other a free pass. Now, you get really good at giving someone a free pass. If you're struggling in a relationship, that relationship will turn around very, 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 very quickly. Very, very quickly. Okay, we've got a few comments here. Let me check on those. Oh, hello, Wendy. Hi, darling. Nice to see you. Thanks for jumping in and saying hi. When can you get your demands met? How could it possibly be received by you as warm and close? Well, I guess it depends on what you mean by demands, right? I don't tend to see things as demands anymore inside myself. For me, it's about creating connection and goodwill because when I do that, people are very generous. It's about generosity of spirit, isn't it? Okay. When we're generous with each other, and human beings by nature are generous when they feel good, when they feel comfortable and safe. We are by nature generous. And we would do anything for anyone when we're in a feeling of generosity, which is a part of a feeling of goodwill, which is a part of all of those things I've been talking about. All right. So, I don't tend to see my things as demands. Like when you're making a demand of someone, it doesn't tend to go down so well, does it? How can it come as an authentic gift of love when it's extricated? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Wendy, but to me, it's all about the way I show up. It's all about the frequency that I bring. It's all about my own generosity of spirit. It's how I'm leading the way because everybody just ends up mirroring you, right? If you don't give someone a free pass, they won't give you one. One of you has to start creating a different level than space that you connect from, okay? And we do that well with the babies in our lives, Wendy. Absolutely, we do it well. We know what it feels like. We do. Because we don't have the same expectations on our children, do we? We see their innocence. The innocence that you see in a baby does not change in an adult, believe it or not. We're just as innocent. I know a lot of people are going to argue with me about that, but we really are. Adults are just as innocent as babies. Yeah, got it, Wendy. Thanks, honey. Sorry, I didn't see. I was obviously talking ahead of where you were, so got it. Thank you, honey. Okay, so just checking in. Does anybody have a question, or is that making sense what I've just shared here about free passes and the power of them and why they matter? And whilst I'm waiting for anyone who wants to make a comment to do that. And if you've just joined into the live, feel free to say hi. I'd love to know where you're from. I'm just going to come back because there were a couple of questions that were being asked of me today. Let me come back to those. 1 second. My assistant is away sick today. She normally puts these into a document, but she's not here. So I'm a little bit, and I've been in sessions all morning, so I'm a little bit disorganized this morning. Okay. So I think I can remember from one of the questions that came through. Here it is. Okay. So this is a question from someone who's just come out of a relationship, and they've said, Fiona, when I'm ready to start dating again, what sort of questions might be asked of someone to see if they have emotional intelligence, or at least a willingness to work for the common good and protection of a relationship rather than letting ego win? Well, first of all, if you're just starting to date someone, okay, remember, this is very, very important, okay? If you're someone who's, and I know there are a number of people out there who've left long-term relationships, etc., and maybe you're out in the dating game and you haven't been dating for a while, haven't been in the dating game for a while. Very, 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 very important, okay? Do not enter into a date with someone when you are gauging and assessing and you're in that front. Do we have a lot in common? Are they emotionally intelligent? Are they like, and you're thinking, right? You got to go there open and curious and neutral. That gives the other person to bring out whoever they are. If you are going into a date and you're gauging and judging and thinking and analyzing and assessing, they will feel like they are on the stand, even if you're not saying it. Because remember, your energy enters the room before you do. And so they're all of a sudden going to feel like they're holding back, and they're going to feel like they have to be careful, and they won't know why, but they'll start to go, oh, I'm not right. This is how the flavor that we bring has a massive impact on what we bring out in another person. Go there with an open mind and an open heart. Be present. Okay, and just listen to the other person. You will get a feel for where that person is. You will get a sense if this is something that you want to continue or not. The quieter your mind, the more connected you are to your own wisdom, and the more you will get a sense of whether this is someone that you want to spend a bit more time with. When you're judging, gauging, and assessing, when your mind is going fast, you will miss information. We ourselves are not as emotionally intelligent when we're in our analytical ego mind. So you, right, want to be the person that shows up not from that place, but from an openness, a generosity, a curiosity, and a neutrality. Then you're going to get a sense of what that person is like and be able to bring out the best in them. And from there, you'll get a sense of whether this is something that you want to pursue or spend more time doing. So that would be the first thing. Judging, gauging, and assessing will bring out the worst in the other person, because it's your insecurities now going to meet their insecurities. And when it's insecurities meeting insecurities, you don't get a sense of who the other person truly is. They don't get a sense of you. You don't get a sense of them. So bring openness, okay? Be present. Have your mind be really quiet and just listen and just see, and you will know. You will know, okay? A lot of people don't know or don't know what I mean by you will know, because their minds are going so fast and they're judging and they're gauging, they're assessing, and they're blah, 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 okay? So that is very, very, very important. You remember, you want to go in because you want to give yourself the best opportunity to get a sense of the other person. And this is really hard to do when you are overthinking everything, okay? Curiosity, neutrality, and presence are the key. All right. Can I give you an example of a free pass? Yeah, sure. So let's just say your partner is parenting differently to you. for example, right? You've got a partner and they are, maybe you're someone who's a bit more chilled out with the kids, whatever, and the other person is someone who's a little bit more nitpicky. And maybe they've been pushing the kids and going, why are you doing this? You need to do that. I want you to do this now. And they're being a little dictatorial, right, in your mind. And then there's an argument between that parent and that child. And you're sitting there thinking, if they weren't being so rah, 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 this wouldn't happen. I don't know when they're going to work this out. This is just ridiculous. You've got all this going on, right? That parent comes to you and they're like, I don't know what's going on. Why are we fighting so much? Blah, 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 blah. Now, here's your opportunity to give someone a free pass. Instead of going in and judging and telling them they're doing a terrible job and they need to do it differently and, it's their fault and why do they have to be this way and blah, 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 right? You can sit back and say and have a really different kind of conversation where you're gracious with them, where you're not just coming from a place of superiority and telling them, well, if only you did it like me, it would be okay. You sit back and you're more compassionate and understanding. And you say things like, yeah, it can be tricky. Have you ever considered that, maybe so-and-so just wasn't in the right frame of mind? Or will you just sit back and listen and you don't even say anything and say, yeah, I know it can be hard parenting sometimes. You give that person a free pass. You don't sit there, judge them, make them wrong, tell them they're doing it wrong. That's an example of giving someone a free pass. Or maybe someone walks in and they've had a long day at work and they come in and they slam the door and you say, hey, babe, and they go, hi. And you're thinking, oh, great, And they go, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Okay. Give them some space. Don't come straight in and go, well, you could be nicer about it. Do you have to walk in the door and slam everything? I mean, why do you have to be so rude? I mean, I'm only saying hello. That's not giving someone a free pass. Okay. Sometimes people come in and they've had a big day and they're just tired and cranky and they just need some time to recalibrate. They don't necessarily need us coming in and saying, you're not being very nice and you could be more like this and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes what they just need is a free pass. It's okay, babe. I've had a hard day. Cool. Let me know if you need anything. And the amazing thing is when you don't meet someone where they're at, they will shift and flow and come to another place on their own, and then you can meet them there. Too many people are quick to go, okay? We all have moments like that. We all have days like that. We all have moments where we just get stuck in our head and the worst of us comes out, right? It's very human. Very, very human. It's amazing when you give someone a soft landing, how that person then has room to breathe, okay? But we struggle with that because we get so judgy and so stuck and so I would never do that. I would never be this. It doesn't matter. They are not you. You are not them. Okay. And it's not who they are. It's just where they go sometimes. So there's a couple of examples. I mean, a really great example of a free pass is we went a couple of weekends ago. We went into the city because we live about an hour or so out of the city. Friends of ours were getting married, and so we decided to go into the city with the kids and go to this wedding and stay the night there. And I booked a hotel room for us in a bit of a rush. I didn't read the reviews properly. I didn't look at it properly. I saw photos on the web, saw the price, went, yep, that'll do. It was in the general vicinity of where we needed to go. Anyway, this hotel room was horrific, like horrific. It was like a drug den. I'm not joking. I don't know what the pictures were not a match on the screen at all. We opened the door and we were it was horrendous. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being a princess by saying that. And I won't bore you to death with the gory details, but it was revolting. Okay. And we were kind of stuck with this room and I'd screwed up. I definitely screwed up. I didn't do enough research. I didn't do enough of anything. Now, the lovely thing about my husband is he did not say one word. He did not rub my nose in it. He did not make me wrong. He just said, it's okay, babe. It's just one night. It'll be fine. It's no big deal. And it really was awful. 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 And I must admit, I had a moment where I went, gee, would I be as generous with him if he'd booked this room? I don't know. Seriously, I don't know. It's one of the things I truly love about my husband. He was so kind about it and generous with me. He said, it's okay, honey, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's not great, but don't worry about it. These things happen. No biggie. And he meant it. He didn't just bring it up, down the track or rub my face in it or he gave me a free pass. Okay? You'd be amazed at how many people do not do that with each other. They the first chance they get, they go, "Oh my God, you didn't research this properly, did you? This is just so typical of you. Now we're stuck in this disgusting place. You all blah, blah," right? This is how people are with each other. This is how people are with each other. And they're like that with each other in front of their children. And then their children are seeing that. This is how people are. It breaks my heart. Truly it does. Because I know the impact of that. And it just doesn't have to be that way. And this is how relationships fail. Because people don't give each other a free pass. People take the first opportunity to stick the knife in. I find that heartbreaking. Because that just ripples out everywhere. I'm telling you, it does. Why? I work with a lot of CEOs, people in management, people with quite intense jobs, and they will say to me, if I've had a terrible weekend at home with the family, I barely function at work. Like, it ripples out everywhere. This is why this quality of your relationships is everything. And I just want to finish this live by saying, I know that there are many people in the world going through a hard time right now. I know. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of fear in the world. There's a lot of, negativity coming from the media and interest rates, inflation, blah, 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 right? I know this. You have to realize that the one thing that will sustain you through difficult times in life is the quality of your relationships, what you come home to, what you live with, your relationship with you, your relationship with others. This is the cornerstone of well-being. When life is shitty, because it can be, right? This is the cornerstone. This is what you live in. This is the mattress of your life that you sleep on and live in every day. And I cannot believe how many people put up with a crappy mattress. How many people just go, oh, well, that's as good as it gets. Like, how many people won't invest in their mattress? Like, it astounds me, to be completely frank with you. People will come to me and they're miserable and desperately upset, but they won't invest in their marriage. They won't invest in their relationship. They won't invest in the cornerstone of their life. They won't come to me and go, I need to be good at this stuff, because you do. There's no excuse. If you're not good at this stuff, there's no reason for you not to be. There truly is not. Because it determines everything in your life. And you are the creator of your life, of how you want to feel, of the experiences that you want to create, right? It's up to you. You're in charge. Are you someone who sticks a knife in every chance you get? Are you someone who nitpicks? Are you someone who has massively high expectations of the people around you and yourself? Do you fly off the handle really easily? Or do you withdraw and shut down and not speak and withdraw love? Like, if you're doing any of that stuff, you need to stop. Really. That's not good enough for you or your family or the people in your life. And it's not good enough for the world. We need people who are good at this stuff in the world. This is what the world needs, especially when there's a lot of fear and a lot of worry and a lot of upset. So if you're bringing any of those things to the table, stop making excuses and do something about it. And this whole adage of, I'll work it out myself. Well, if you've been doing that for years and years and years, then you're not working it out yourself, are you? And I say this as someone who was shocking at this stuff. I'm really honest with you. I sucked. I was resentful. I was bitchy. I was judgmental. I was reactionary. I was all of those things. And I'm beyond grateful that I'm not that person. But I was. I'm not proud of it, but I was. Until I went, no more. I'm not showing up this way. This is not how I want to show up to the people in my life. It's not how I want to show up to myself, actually. Okay? You do not have to be that person if you are. Okay? Anyway, I'll leave that with you, because this stuff matters. It's the cornerstone of your life. It's the mattress of your existence. Okay? It truly is. Anyway, everybody, sending you lots and lots of love. A little bit of hard love at the end, but knowing that it comes from lots and lots of love, because I really want people to be good at this stuff. We need this in the world. We truly do. And it's easier than you think. Truly. I was saying to my relatable students during the week, I am the pin-up girl in the sense of not from a general pin-up girl. I don't see myself that way, but as someone who was full of resentment and anger and just does not show up that way. So I'm really clear. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Okay. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Anyway. All right, everybody. Wishing you all a wonderful Friday. And I will see you all next Friday at around 12 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. If you have a question that you would like me to answer for you, please send me an email or post it in the comments below and I'll answer it for you. Okay. Take care, everyone. Thanks for being on the call. Lots of love. Ciao.